This is Naveen. Here I'm going to introduce about two tools which is mainly using for the monitoring of the processing which have been happening at the background of operation in the Linux operating system. So we generally use GUI commands like using GUI we use to check the processes and the CPU operations in the Windows operating system generally. So here I'm going to use a few commands for the installation and for the operation of each and every tool of APT and IoT. All right, so from the scratch I'm going to introduce. So you can look here the screen.
By clicking on the start button here. Take some time, just clicking opening using the button. Take some time. All right. All right, I'm just closing the terminal since I've been using the last time. All right, so I'm gonna introduce about the atop. So atop is a full screen performance monitor that can report the activity of all processes, even the ones that has been completed. atop also allows you to keep the daily log of system activities. The system can be used for different purposes, including analysis, debugging, pinpointing the cause of system overload, and others. Many of the people have known that about the usage of Windows operating systems, and if you want to see about the background processing using GUI, we can click Control Alt Delete and going into the performances task, so that you can see the what all the tasks which have been happening at the background and how much the CPU has been allocated for each process. So that here uh, I'm going to introduce the same operation which is been happening in the Ubuntu operating systems by using the terminals and the commands. All right, I'm just heading into the command. I already have installed this atop, so that you can get on pop-up here, though you can use this command, sudo apt install atop, and you must password for that if you give that. So you can see it's getting installed. Take some time. All right, so since I already have installed that, you can see until this one. If you wouldn't have installed before, so you can get uh, the loading of the process uh, which is being installed. All right, so I'm just going I'm just using the man command for the atop. Here you can see all the commands which is being using for that. See, I'm just scrolling down. This is all the information about this tool. S is for the scheduling characters, V is for the various processes characters, C is for the command line processes, like that. So many things of each and every command. If you have any doubts when using this tool, you can check it here. Otherwise, you can use the other tool. Just type atop help and click enter. It'll get like this for each commands, just like V is for the version and A is for the all processes, and R is for the calculation proportional set sizes, like this. So many variables you can see here. If you could scroll down. All right, so I'm heading into the command which is mainly using in the apt. All right, so I'm using here scheduling for the scheduling information. So for scheduling information, we use a command called ap atop is. I just click on enter, which shows the scheduling information for the main thread of each processor. Also indicates how many processors in the state running. So here you can see a pop-up highlighted text, and you can see the allocated memory for the CPU on each commands, and you can see the virtual memory at the top of the line over there. All right. So I'm just using the other command. I'm going to use the other command called the memory consumption. Just click on a top space m. Just click enter on that. It shows the memory related information about all the running processes. The V size column indicates the total virtual memory, and the R size shows the resident size used per processor. The V grow, excuse me, V grow and R grow indicates that the growth during last intervals. The MEM column indicates the resident memory used by the processors. Here you can see these R size, P size, and V grow, R grow, and the MEM is for the memory usage by the processors. All right. And now I'm going to introduce the other command, which is also been using for this, which is disk utilization. All right. So for the disk utilization, we use this command atop. Give me a sec. Atop is D. See, if you must observe here, if you click enter on this, what you can see here, it doesn't show the exact the commands which is been running in the background, and you have one request from the command line, that is no disk activity figures available. Request is ignored. So that how we can be heading to that, by entering sudo atop space d. Enter. See, it's showing the RDs and WRDs, WCL, and disk and the command. See, it shows the disk activity on the system level of LVM and DSK columns, and disk activity shows as amount of data that is being transferred by read write columns. So the reference is being using a sudo command. We must know uh, being using a sudo, what is exactly the sudo is. All right. Sudo is a super user. Do is a utility for the Unix and the Linux based systems that provides an efficient way to give the specific users permissions to use specific system commands that the root of the system. And the sudo also logs all the commands and arguments. All right. And now I'm entering into the other command called variable information. So what is variable information? So after entering this, we must go information about the variable information. Just click enter on that. So if you would see here, this is option displays the provides in more specific data about the running processes like UID, PID, GID, CPU, usage, etc. This user ID and PID, these all the informations which allocated according to the time which we have logged into that users, like which is named as name, Naveen, and root. and the system and that CPU allocated memory also we can see at the right corner end. Like that is it always been updated to different applications. All right, just putting on that, just entering into the other tool which is most using for that. That is a command of processes. So this command of processes, you can see the lot of things. Use C and just click enter on that. See, you see all the things which is happening in the command line. This shows all the details about the CPU which have been allocated for the each and every processes. The 6% of I mean 4% of the CPU is using for the bin shell, and 2% is using for the some GDM. Like that, the CPU processing can be monitored here, which is being running in the background. So these all the path locations. If you want to see the background, we can go and check that. All right. So now I'm going to the other command called cumulative per program. So this cumulative per program shows uh, the information in this window accumulated per program. The most right column shows which programs are active during the intervals, and the most left column shows the many processes have been spawned. So here you can see the number of processes have been spawned. So here the two processes have been spawned at this time of duration, which is the size of this, and this is the genome shell. And here one processes have been happening at that time during the seconds of the CPU. This is the time period of that one, and this is the memory which was allocated for that, and this is the command for that. All right. So this is for the usage of this cumulative per program, and now I'm going to the other command called cumulative per user. That's for the program, and this is for the user. I'm just clicking enter on that and heading into cumulative per program. So for that command, we must use U before that. Just click enter on that. So you can see the screen shows which users are active during the last interval and indicates how many processes each user can run. So you can see clearly for the two users, one user is Naveen and another user is root, and you can see according to the time slab as well, and the seconds which have been used for that, and the number of processings as well at the left corner, so that you can check the how many number of processes for the each user runs. All right, just waiting enter on that, and now I'm going to introduce about the other tool called iotop. So what is iotop generally? By speaking, iotop command displays a column for the input output bandwidth read and write written by each processes during the sampling period. It also displays the percentage of the time which spent while swapping in and while waiting on input output operations. For each processor, its input output to priorities is shown. In addition, the input output total bandwidth read and write during the sampling period is displayed at the top of the interface. So by using this command, before I'm heading into this command, we having said before that we need to use the sudo command to install that. Apt install what we want iotop. All right, just click enter on that. You can see the process of installation, but practically it is not installing, it's just loading the installation process since it is already installed. If you really wanted to install that, you can you must install without installing before. So since I installed that before, it is showing only the read processing. It's not the not exactly the installation process. All right. So now I'm quickly entering into iotop by using help command. Here you can see all the commands which is using for the only batch, processes accumulated, kilobytes, time, quiet, and everything. All right. So just quickly entering into all these commands by entering one after one. So before I'm entering into all the commands, I'm just you need to check the version of this version. What version is this software is running? Check the version. It's 0.6, iotop 0.6, and just check the non-interactive modes which is being processed in the background. Just click on this one and enter batch to see the non-interactive processes. Since it is not happening, just enter the sudo, because sudo is a like powerful operating tool for all the backgrounds to run at the root mode. Just enter on that. So you can see all the non-interactive mode operations which is being happening at the background. So you can't fit that since it is processing. You just click the close button here, terminal, and then go back to the terminal. All right. So now I just wanted to show the processes which has been happening at the background doing the input-output operations. All right. So for that one, I need to enter only it password since I closed the terminal. So you can observe the only processes or the threads that have been happening at the background. All right. Just enter on that and just go to the other command processes. It shows only the processes, not all the threads. For that, we need to enter the P or like PROCE is processes. Check the processes which have been happening at the background, not all the threads. All right. So while it is processing, we can't go the back. Though we apply the exit here or quick. All right. And use kilobytes instead of a human-friendly unit. So check with accumulate before that. So I'm going to use accumulate for that. See what's running at the back. It shows the accumulated input-output operations instead of bandwidth. You must have observed before the one which we have used for the processes and for the accumulator. And click enter on that. If you want to see the time stuff of each operation, just click on sudo and click. It doesn't need sudo here. You can go straight away with itop as well, but it's all right. We can use the sudo as well. And just click on time. You can see the timestamps. See all the timestamps which have been happening in the log one. All right, and the last but not least, I'm heading into the other command. Since it is pausing, it can't go in. Just closing that. This other command suppresses some lines of head which implies in the batch command. So a batch command, what a batch command shows, it shows the non-interactive or what are the non-interactive modes in the processes. And for the non-interactive processes, this command quiet command suppresses that lines. Let me check for that. QIAT. Just click enter on that. I said before, pause. See, it suppresses all the uh, this non-interactive mode operations. You can see the changes.
Yep. Yep, fine. So this is the end, guys. So you have seen the installation of both the atop and iotop. So you can see clearly that the atop is using for the monitoring of each and every processes which is happening at the background, and input output iotop is using for the reading and writing operations at the back end of CPU. All right, thank you so much, guys. Have a great day.